All right, all right. Welcome to the show. This is DeVon Johnson with the Lakers Showtime Forum Lakers post game show. Um, Listen, guys, I'm at a loss for words. Lakers drop game one, first game back to the finals, first game back to the playoffs, should I say, and drop game one to the Blazers, 100-93. And we obviously have a lot to talk about tonight. And I'm not going to be here long. Let me fix my camera a little bit. But tonight was one of those nights where we basically sat on pins and needles the entire game for unnecessary reasons. So much happened in this game tonight. And I want to really give you guys an opportunity to have the floor tonight. I'm gonna point out a few things, and then we're gonna be getting on our way. But basically, this game was not lost because of officiating. This game was not lost really because of our strengths and inside play. We had some great inside paint play. We had great rebounding. This game was lost in the two really biggest weaknesses that we have as a team. Number one, we lost because of free throw shooting at 64%, which I said you cannot shoot sub 75% or sub 70% and expect to win anything. And so every time we've lost, we have shot sub 70% from the free throw line. And then again, our 3-point shooting was just absolutely horrible. I don't like this camera angle too much. Shooting 15%, going basically 5 of 32. And it was just absolutely horrible the way we shot. The starters only had three-pointers, and then the bench only had two. But everything else seemed to be working great. We were doing great with our bench play. We were doing great. Our bench play was doing great. And then even in the third quarter, we began to pick some things up, kept the momentum going. And then really coming down to the final 5 minutes is really where our weaknesses showed up. We couldn't hit 3-point shots. We missed 4 free throws in a row by 2 of our biggest stars. One is our best free throw shooter, Anthony Davis. He missed both of his free throws. And then LeBron James missing both of his free throws, who's historically not been great. In fact, in the fourth quarter, he generally shoots around 60 to 65%, somewhere in that range. I think 66% is what he's shooting this season in the fourth quarter. And so our weaknesses showed up at the worst possible times. And then on the opposite end, the Blazers' strength showed up at the best possible time. Dame Lillard had been potentially quiet for most of the game. He didn't score. Once he scored in the second quarter, he didn't score again until the fourth. But once he got going in the fourth, he essentially created the momentum that caused not only for him to hit the threes that he was hitting, one from half court, but also Carmelo Anthony being able to hit. And this is going to be the difference, to be honest with you guys. This is going to be the difference between us and other teams. The issue that we're going to have is that if we can't hit free throws and if we can't hit threes, we are going to get dominated on some side, and it's going to show up generally at the end of games. If you look at how many free throws that we missed tonight, we went 20 of 31 from the free throw line. Just those 11 points by itself, we would have won the game. Even if you would have just missed 2, you still would have won the game. Even if you would have just missed 3, you would have won the game. And so you can't do that. And then going 5 of 32 from the 3-point line, 3-point land, you can't do it. You just can't do it. And this is the stuff that has had people worried going into this game. Now, we're going to go through the bad stuff, and then we're going to end on a high note because I don't want us to go down this deep rabbit hole of all is lost and we're about to get swept. We're not going to take the Charles Barkley tone. We're not that fan base, okay? We don't turn that quickly. But let's go through some of these things here. I want to get to some of you guys. Blake Sinclair, basically zero backcourt production. And for the most part, I'd agree with you on that. Anthony Davis had 28, LeBron James had 23, and also had 16 assists tonight and 17 rebounds. So we can't blame LeBron for nothing. He did a lot in 41 minutes. Had a triple double, passed Kobe Bryant for most triple doubles as a Laker, essentially. But obviously Kobe did all of his underneath one uniform. But Anthony Davis contributed well. He had 11 rebounds, only 1 assist, and 28 points. But where we need Anthony the most was at least to hit 1 or 2 threes. He was 0 of 5 from that. And then from the free throw line, he was 12 of 17. So 5 of those 11 misses that we had as a team was Anthony Davis, who primarily is our best free throw shooter. And so, yeah, backcourt didn't produce. But even if the backcourt didn't produce, Anthony Davis missing those free throws was pretty huge. Kyle Kuzma had 30 minutes and 14 points, had 7 rebounds, which is really good for him, but only 1 of 5 from 3. Anakat Mohan, this loss deserves a rant. Absolutely. No rhythm right from the tip. And this is something that Frank Vogel talked about. He goes, when you have your team off for a week while the team you're getting ready to play has been gaining not only momentum but confidence coming into this game, they had to battle their way all the way through the seeding games, battle their way into the battle their way up over the playing game over Memphis, and then they get here. They had been on a steady roll of confidence and momentum, and Frank Vogel said, our team essentially has been sitting still for a week, and they weren't playing well as they ended the season. And so when you think about all of those things, then yeah, I wasn't expecting the Lakers to come out on some super productive first or second quarter. I expected them to struggle. Where I did not expect them to struggle was in the fourth quarter, where it mattered most, where the score is close. That's where I anticipated us dominating the game. We had 4 of the Blazer players had 5 fouls, and for some reason, those people ended with 5 fouls. We didn't foul out anybody. Hassan Whiteside had 5 fouls, and because we were unable to get fouls or to drive the paint, it just really felt like that really made a lot of the difference. 2 huge blocks he had down the line could have been prevented. That we just attacked him in the paint and caused him to foul out the game. But they, for whatever reason, that we just were unable to do it. We are such a horrible free throw shooting team. Missed 4 free throws in the crunch, and there's no excuse for it. I say this almost every time that we get done with the game, regardless if we win or lose. We cannot continue to shoot closer to 50% on free throws. That means we're giving away half of the points. And every time we lose, I bring it up because I say if we would have hit the shots that were for free, this game would have been over. Okay, but for whatever reason, we didn't do that. James Michael, Periscope. It says a lot when LBJ did not pass to DG in the final minute for corner 3. I did notice that. LeBron goes into the middle, and generally when he draws the defense in, we all know his general thing is to kick to the corner 3. And it just always feels like every other team shoots the 3 better than us. And what's funny is that the Blazers, they shot closer to 40%, 13 for 34, and a lot of that was really Dame Lillard, who shot 6 3, who made 6 threes tonight. So a lot of that was Dame, but we don't have a knockdown 3-point shooter. And one of the things that I've been holding off on holding criticism against Danny Green has been in these crunch times, in these playoff games, we need you to hit shots. Now, Danny Green did hit a couple of shots, a couple of threes, but not when we needed them as much in the fourth quarter. So he shot 8 times. He shot the 3 8 times and missed 6 of them. He made 2, and that was great. But where we needed him to make those threes late, he was unable to hit those, and it made the difference. It killed momentum, and it also lost confidence for LeBron. And when LeBron can't pass out and LeBron can't trust, the only thing he can rely on is the foul call, because he knows as soon as he goes into the paint, the entire defense is going to collapse on him. He knows that. And especially in the playoffs where they don't call fouls, and they generally didn't tonight. In a lot of areas where they didn't call fouls, it mattered to have somebody he can kick out to keep the defense honest. And really, outside of potentially a Kyle Kuzma who really only hit that 3, you really had nobody. And Danny Green he got a little bit of rhythm, but that was it. KCP wasn't hitting, things like that. So this is one of those areas where I know we talk a lot about Avery Bradley's defense, but Avery was doing a great job of being a consistent 3-point shooter. He wasn't a high 3-point shooter, and he wasn't on the top of the league, but he was consistent enough that you could trust him in those moments. And for whatever reason, they couldn't. New wins order. Vogel is a fraud. That has to go now. Now, guys, listen. What you're not going to do is take a coach who coached to the number 1 seed after Kobe's death and a front office debacle with Jason Kidd as the assistant coach, get you guys all the way to the number 1 seed, and then all of a sudden you lose the first playoff game and you're ready to throw the guy to the wolves. Listen, the Bucks lost. Okay, the Bucks lost to the Magic. Nobody in their right mind thinks that the Bucks are going to lose that series. And for Laker fans, if anybody should have faith in our team, it should be us. We should be the last people throwing our team under the bus after a bad loss. We are allowed to criticize them, but we're not allowed to throw them away. That is not what we're going to do. All right? That's what we're not going to do. But I do appreciate the commentary. I'm glad. New wins order, get it out. This is the place to get it out. Just don't say it in public because it makes us look weak. Anakat Mohan, the team basically has nobody as an offensive threat apart from LeBron and AD. And this is where we really thought that Dion Waiters was going to be the revolution of being the playmaker. Now, one of the things that everybody keeps talking about, and even the team is excited about, is having a playmaker like Rondo, who does make bad decisions a lot, but he's a different level thinker in the playoffs. One of the reasons why the Blazers got swept by AD and Rondo was because of Rondo's ability to outthink them. Okay, so we're really looking forward to him coming back, but he's not going to be the savior in this series. In fact, even when he does come back, he's been off way too long. To be honest, for him to even really think about being as productive as we'd want him to be. He basically would be like Montrezl Harrell is for the Clippers right now. You know he has potential, but he has to get his legs back and doesn't have that benefit. So in this instance, we were hoping Dion Waiters would be the one-on-one guy who can keep the pressure on the defense, drive to the hole, playmate, get the bucket. And Dion did see some time in that last minute of the half, and you didn't see him again. What you are seeing, though, is what Frank Vogel trusts is his rotation. So you're seeing Alex Caruso, you're seeing Kuzma, you're seeing Morris, you're seeing Dwight. A lot of these guys got a lot of time tonight. Keith had some moments tonight. He played 19 minutes, only had 5 points, but he had some moments, and he was causing some ruckus down below, which is what you really want. You want him to be an abuser. Dwight Howard had he had the longest 15 minutes that I've ever seen a center play. I've never seen somebody who got that frustrated that fast as much as him. And what's crazy is he had 5 fouls, but had 14 points. I'm sorry, had 4 points. Kyle Kuzma had 14 points, but he had 4 points, but had 5 fouls. So he had more fouls than he had points, but you saw his name and saw his face all over the screen. Every single time the whistle stopped when he was on the floor, you just anticipated that it was because of him. Him and Nurkic were going at it. Him and Whiteside were going at it. There's points where I really thought that Howard was going to get ejected from the game just by the way he was responding, and it just added the fuel to the fire in this loss. Al Sanchez 5 of 32, absolutely 15%, 5 of 32 for us. AC Avail, I hope I'm saying that, man. Arvelli, Ciavelli, Asavelli. I don't know how I'm saying it right. Danny Green can't make a shot. Vogel subs out a hot Kuzma and put Green in. I don't understand. Yeah, Kuzma had it kind of going, man. He was 5 of 14, and it's really a game of matchups. But tonight he did make some questionable decisions, as did Terry Stotts, if I'm being honest with you. But really the Lakers are in an unknown territory for themselves, because when you hit the playoffs, I don't care what your seeding is, everybody's starting off 0-0. The only difference is everybody has figured themselves out by this point, and you've weeded out the bad teams and you've left the good teams. That's what the playoffs are. So essentially, you need 16 wins from an 0-0 start. The first team to get 16 wins essentially wins the championship. And so the Lakers are starting fresh, and these teams are coming in with confidence, man. The reason why you saw in Orlando beat the Bucks, the reason why you saw Houston demolish the team that they demolished the Thunder today. You're seeing all of that because you're seeing what teams are coming in ready with momentum and those who are not ready. And unfortunately, the Lakers are just not ready. 16% from three, 15% from three, 15.6. And we thought Lakers would be turning on a switch in the playoffs. I don't anticipate the 3-point shooting getting that much better. Let me just halt everybody there. Okay. What you're seeing about now, I don't think they're going to shoot 15% overall. I think they'll probably be around 20, 25, somewhere in there. But to be honest, that's not the totality of losing games. Us shooting sub 70% from the free throw line. I just got to point it out. Go read all the teams that won today and look at the free throw shooting percentage. I promise you're going to see a trend and a correlation between the teams that lose and their low percentage and the teams that win and their high percentage. These are free points. We had double-digit free points we left on the board because we just couldn't make free throw shots. And that just can't happen, guys. I can't reiterate that enough. That is literally a shot where they stop the clock, stop the game, stop any player from messing with you, and they give you the ball. They wait for you. They let you dribble. They let you wait as long as you need to go within reason, and then you shoot it. That's it. That's it. You don't have to jump shoot it. You don't have to do it in rhythm. You don't have to do it in motion. You don't have to lay up. None of that. Just shoot it from right here. And we missed double digit of those, and that's crazy to me. All you need to do is pack the paint to beat the Lakers. Al Sanchez. And one of the things they pointed out, Chris Webber, who I don't normally look at as a huge influence, but one of the things that he brought up, which was huge, was that Vogel was playing a lot to the length that we had. So you saw a lot of times where like LeBron would try to get to the paint and he couldn't because there were already two 7-footers there. There'd be a JaVale and an AD or a Dwight and an AD, and there wasn't enough spacing on the floor. And so a lot of times, even just to our credit, a lot of the reason why our three point shooting percentage is so low is because they're coming at such horrible times in the clock. They're not happening in rhythm. They're not happening out of set plays. In fact, it feels like a lot of the times that we're at our best are coming out of timeouts where a play is drawn up. But generally, outside of that, it's LeBron James, and LeBron did some immaculate passing tonight. Let's just not forget. You don't get 17 assists unless, number one, you're passing, and then number two, the people you're passing to are making shots. There were a few plays where LeBron made impossible passes. Markieff Morris missed one, had no idea the ball was coming to him. And a part of that was because Whiteside was there clogging the paint. A part of that was because LeBron had nobody else to kick out to, didn't trust shooters on the outside. So there were some ill-advised passes, mistimed passes. Him and AD weren't completely in sync on a few of those plays. And for whatever reason, the pick and roll has become our fourth or fifth option when it comes down the ranks. It's not really because the teams are taking it away. Portland ran a lot of zone today, but that doesn't necessarily take away the pick and roll, and especially when the bigs on the other team are sitting at 5 fouls in crunch time. That pick and roll is your bread and butter, and for whatever reason, just didn't go to it. New wins order. DG is horrible. 15 mil for what? And you know what? Tonight, I can't verify it. I will say it's not a Mozgov contract, but it's still a questionable one. Anakat Mohan, if our best player LeBron can't be trusted on the free throw line in the fourth, we won't win many close games. And this is so true, and this is the hardest thing. And I never want to be this guy who keeps comparing Kobe and LeBron, because they really are two different players, guys. They really are. They're not the same. They're not the same player at all. Completely, they're pantheon greats, but they're not the same player. LeBron is a completely different player than Kobe was. But this is one of those areas where you could trust Kobe the most, was when he got to the free throw line, the man could have a torn Achilles, and you knew he was going to hit those 2 free throw shots. And so that's one place where it's different for us as Laker fans. We haven't really had this issue before. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things that is going to be a problem down the stretch. Now it won't become a problem if we have leads and we can keep those leads. If we were up by double digits, then the free throws don't hurt as much, right? But in crunch time, you're looking for your star player to hit those shots. And I can't even hold it completely on LeBron, because even AD missed shots tonight. And I don't know what it is. I don't know, because the Staples Center crowd keeps them focused and lasered in, or they don't want to embarrass themselves in front of the stars. But tonight, they got embarrassed. And Nurkic did something at the end of the game when he scored his last 2 points that made me go, if I'm a coach, I would show this play over and over again. I should have brought it out tonight. I have my other iPad. I should have brought it out. He scored and then looked at the camera and goes and does that wink thing, right? Like, try to tell y'all. Now, I would show that to the team all day, just to remind them that 8 seed thinks that low of you, that they are literally mocking you as the game is ending. Now that to Kobe he would be in that gym tonight. He would find somebody's gym. He would be shooting something. He would make Disney set up something at Epcot or something, and he'd be shooting in that gym all night tonight. He probably would have a few of them players with him. New wins order. I said JaVale Vogel would be the Achilles heel, and look what happens. I don't think Vogel is the Achilles heel, guys. I understand you're upset with Vogel, but there's nothing Vogel can do when your star can't hit free throws. There's nothing you can do about that. It's not like it's not like they weren't getting to the line, and it's not like they didn't hold Lillard. He's known as a defensive coach, and they held Lillard from the second quarter all the way to the fourth without him making a shot. No other team has done that during this run in the bubble. Only the Lakers did, and they get to the fourth quarter, and your team just loses momentum. There's points where you trust your team on the floor. Now, this kind of goes back to, I remember when we lost to the Mavs, and y'all remember that when Andrew Bynum pushed J.J. Barea into the freeway, and everybody was talking about Phil Jackson ain't that great. That's crazy. You can't get mad at Phil Jackson because your team doesn't show up to execute a game plan. That's not a Vogel thing. A lot of times, that's what you're looking for, your stars to show up and make things happen. Okay, so in this instance, JaVale actually was better tonight than he normally is during the season. He was 3 of 5 from the field, had 6 points. I'm not mad at it. 8 rebounds, and 4 of them were offensive. JaVale actually played better than what he's been doing in the bubble. I actually was surprised at his level of play. Obviously, he's not the most athletic center, and he's normally going to get beat going against another starting center. But him doing what he did tonight, as little as it was better than what he's been doing in the bubble. I know that's not a good enough thing, but KCP was 0-5 from 3. He can't play D either. He sucks. Al Sanchez. Now, once again, let's come back. We're gonna keep ranting, and I want you guys to rant, but I want to just bring it back real quick. We said the same thing about Avery Bradley when he had his issues, and we were like, well, keep KCP in there because he's too good, right? We said the same thing about Kuzma, and Kuzma has been one of our more consistent scorers since we got in the bubble. Another double-digit night tonight. So we have to be careful not to take these slides and these moments and then just throw them away and say they suck. KCP doesn't suck, okay? Part of the reason why we have a number 1 seed is because KCP came into the starting lineup when Avery Bradley was injured and went on fire. The issue that we're having is we've seen them in spurts. We want to see them consistently. Now, that is, if you can't be consistent, that doesn't mean you suck. It just means you're not consistent. That's what it means to me. If you suck, we just got to remind ourselves, we've seen what sucks looks like for 7 years. Just go back to the last time we were in the playoffs and look at the starting lineup. That's what sucks. Not this. Okay, this starting lineup is not going to get swept in the first round. I promise you that. I don't care what Charles Barkley says. He doesn't suck, but he's not performing well. We just got to be able to separate the two. AD played like trash tonight. Adonis, I kind of agree with you. For me, I'm actually okay with him going 8 of 24 from the field. That part didn't really bug me as much as him missing 5 free throws. I will call him trash tonight because our best free throw shooter missed 5 of the free throws. Our free throw shooting percentage was what it was tonight because he missed 5 of it. Think about it. Had we just made 5, had he just made his 5 free throws, it would have been a 2-point game. It would have been a 2-point game, guys. Had he just made 5 of his free throws. Anakat Mohan, I'm so worried. We're going to address that in a minute. Naveed Bajwa, please forgive me if I'm saying that right, from Periscope. KCP and Green in when Kuz was hot. Vogel, what TF? I agree with that. I don't know what he was looking for. I don't know if he was looking for a certain defensive matchup or what, but it was a very questionable move. Nuance order. Braun seemed like he was assist hunting at times instead of trying to score. And Braun has been known to do this. He does this a lot, especially going into the playoffs. He is completely saturated his mind with getting. He did this in the beginning of the season when he first got to the Lakers. He's trying to figure out who can he trust going long term. He does it every time. He's even alluded to that he gets his other team involved to figure out where the hot hand is, because where Braun, and this is once again, this is the difference between him and a Kobe, not better or worse, but Kobe is, I'm going to shoot the ball when I feel like shooting the ball. LeBron is, I want the team, right? That's why you always talking about him with duos and trios. I want the team to flourish because it makes my job easier. And as somebody in year 17, it makes the most sense for him to do that, right? It makes the most sense for him to do that. But we'll see. I'm not totally sure if Braun is going to be more aggressive or what. But him doing a triple-double with 17 assists and I mean, I don't know what else we could ask from Braun tonight because he scored. He almost scored 30 points. He had 17 assists. The boy was on his thing. And what I love the most about what Braun did tonight, he only had 4 turnovers with that many assists. Generally, his assist to turnover ratio, if he had 17 assists, he probably would have about 7 turnovers based upon his ratio. But tonight, he was great. And 15 rebounds, man. Like that's 17 rebounds, 16 assists. I apologize, 16 assists and 17 rebounds. He was working. Anakat Mohan, Lakers' flaws were very apparent in this game. Unless they adapt in this bubble, this could be a short series. I'm worried. They're not going to get swept, guys. We're going to talk about that later. I'm not going to get into that. New one's order. No excuses at all. They took an easy all bubble and then decided to play like this. I mean, yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, man, like it's not an excuse. I mean, you saw bright spots. You saw LeBron have 17 rebounds and 16 assists. I mean, I don't know how you look at that and go, that's what he's been doing the whole time, because he hasn't. So he's been aggressive. He's just not aggressive in the spaces that we think we needed him the most. But LeBron could have scored 41 tonight. We still would have lost had we been shooting the free throws the way we shot them tonight. I mean, that to me ain't got nothing to do with the playoffs or the bubble. We've been that bad all season long. And we've been talking about it. Like, y'all got to fix it. You got to fix it. And now it's showing up in a time where it matters, because now every loss counts towards you going home. So, no excuses, but why take out Kuz? Fear LA, why take out Kuz in the 4th? He was getting buckets. I don't know, man. And I'm loving seeing this dude's aggressiveness. I'm love seeing this dude's confidence. This is the Kuz that like we've been waiting for to pop, man. And so I don't know if it's a trust thing. I don't know if, it's just, I don't know what it is. But hopefully they go back and look at the tape and they see that Kuz is a momentum shifter. This is kind of like almost like it's almost like what Avery Bradley did against the Clippers. He was able to keep that pressure going, and so it allowed AD and it allowed Bron to be more aggressive because they had a third scorer that the defense had to account for. And tonight the defense didn't have to. They could collapse on Bron, they could collapse on AD, and no, they didn't. Listen, they were leaving our 3-point shooters open. They were just like they're not going to make them, and we had a couple, but for the most part they were right. So I don't know what that is. The Hulk, ain't no excuses. I'm tired of AD at the 3-point line. Yeah, I mean, listen, he has on nights, he has off nights. You know what I mean? There's some nights he goes, he'll hit 3 of those, and other nights like tonight, he'll have 0. Um, and once again, I want to just delineate. I'm not making excuses, but I have to make sure that I bring us back to an even keel because I don't want us to start jumping off the bandwagon because we expected to win on night 1 and we didn't get it. I just want to point to the East Coast and I want us to just think balance. Do you really think the Orlando Magic are going to sweep the Bucks? Do you really think the Orlando Magic are going to take the Bucks and beat them in the first round? Absolutely not. I don't care how bad Chris Middleton is. That's not happening. And so we have to think level headed. The Lakers are not going to get. It's going to be a fight. I anticipated this series going 6 or 7 games anyway, and so we were going to lose one of these games. Period. That was going to happen regardless. So it happened on the first game, which we did not like. It's the first game back to the playoffs. It fuels Skip Bayless and his commentary. It fuels all the Clipper lovers. But for me, just to be honest, I'm looking at the whole picture, and I don't think the Blazers have enough to beat the Lakers in 4 games. I just don't see it. Tell AD you play the 5 and put Kuz in starting lineup. Naveed, I am not mad at that, brother. Still have Dwight come off the bench. Have JaVale come in when Dwight's in foul trouble. Let AD keep that 5. I'm really not against it. I'm also not a basketball coach, so I don't know what the ins and out are of that. But to me, I'm telling AD, brother, you at the 5. Period. You're gonna pull Nurkic out. You're gonna let LeBron get at Whiteside and get him in foul trouble, and then let that little kid Gabriel and Zach Collins wasn't in tonight, and I think it would have been a much different dynamic had Zach been in there. And it might have been a worse result, to be honest, the way we were playing. But the issue is now when you come out in the second game, are you going to take them serious? Okay. And once again, we're not talking about a home court advantage anymore. Home court advantage don't matter. You're not traveling to a new city. You're not traveling to a new place. You know what I mean? If games 1 through 7 are all going to be played in the same exact spot, the only thing that's going to be different are the fans behind you, and they ain't paying attention to none of that. Okay, so I like the idea of 80 at the 5, but we got to find out. Blake Sinclair, that's on the coaching staff, not keeping the players prepared for the rest between games. No excuse to not be ready for a playoff game. Listen, man, I don't necessarily blame the coaching staff for that. I gotta just point it out. The highest people that are being paid on that team are on the court. If you need the coach to motivate you, then you're really not you're not supposed to be wearing that Laker brand. Okay, I just want to just point out that every time you watch our dynasties flourish is because the team. Even Phil Jackson said it. Pat Riley said it. The players owned the team. Magic owned the team. Kobe owned the team. Okay, the whole reason Shaq got traded because they couldn't figure out which player was going to own the team. The preparation part for the coach is to manage egos and be a psychiatrist, draw up the right plays, and get the right people the right looks. Tonight, it wasn't a matter of getting people the right looks. Tonight, the players just weren't shooting well, and they haven't been shooting well. And there's nothing you can really do to make people shoot free throws better outside of telling them what you're going to do. Cut them? What you going to do? Sit them? Take them out the rotation? Who are you taking out? What's the substitute? What are you going to take out? I mean, you could probably take out JaVale, but he's not really your Achilles heel. Your Achilles heel is the free throw shooting. And you're not going to take out LeBron, who's one of your worst free throw shooters. So a lot of this stuff is just like, man, LBJ chokes all the time, historically. Ace Traders. Woo, I love it, man. I want y'all to vent, but I love how our language changes so fast. Lord Jesus. Fear LA, the Lakers were down 4 with 1 minute left, and they gave up. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. When they missed those free throws, I saw a countenance change. I don't know if that was just a momentum destroyer for them or whatever, or if it was just Carmelo hitting that 3 and Dame shooting from half court. I don't know if that was it. But something happened that deflated them in that last minute. Should play Morris more. Al Sanchez. I liked Morris, man. I like him. I want to see him up there in that 20-minute category. We ain't really seen it. He was 19 and I got close. And he missed the free throw. His only free throw on an and one, but that and one was a momentum changer, man. Had 4 personal fouls, but what's funny is just lending to your idea there. He was a plus 12 when Morris was in. He was a plus 12. I know that sounds crazy, but here's what's crazy. Anthony Davis or LeBron James had a triple double and was a -3 in the plus minus category. Every starter was in the negative. Every starter was in the minus. -20 for Anthony Davis, -20 for Green, -18 for Caldwell Pope. That means that when the starting lineup was in, we were always losing. And then when the backups were in, everybody with the exception of Dion Waiters, who was a -1, was in the plus category. Mark Morris with +5, Kuzma with +12 for Morris, +5 for Kuzma, +7 for Howard, +12 for Caruso. So it's almost like the starting lineup ain't working. So, listen, man, more Morris minutes, more Dwight minutes. I'm all for that. More Kuz minutes, definitely. And getting 80 at the 5, I think is going to make a difference. The Lakers were down. I'm sorry. If AD want to win, play the 5. F the politics. I'm tired of it. I'm in agreement, dog. What made me nervous earlier on, like when he first got signed or when he first came on, we traded for him. The first question was, "How do you feel about playing the 5?" And he's like, "I really don't want to play the 5, but if coach asks me to, I will." I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. Like, I want you to bang bodies, brother. I want you to listen. You already ended up on the floor every 5 minutes anyway. So if you're gonna be on the floor that much, at least be in the paint, defending and doing all the stuff that we know you can do. So out of cut my head, KCP and DG were doing cardio out there. You ain't lying. Them brothers was running around chasing Dame, and that was about it. Newman's order, win. Ace Traders, incredible, man. The KCP from the beginning of the season is back and at the worst possible time. I believe he's going to come out of it, man. Dame made more threes than the entire Lakers team. He did. And here's what's crazy. They knew he was going to do that. They knew he was going to go off. But Dame picked the right time to become aggressive. And the issue is that Dame is one of those people who can turn it on. Think about it. He didn't score from the second quarter until the fourth. The man didn't score. Okay? But he knows that once he gets going, game. That's why he can wait till the fourth quarter and shoot from half court, and it don't matter. LeBron tried to shoot from almost half court, nowhere even close. Yeah. Blake Sinclair, I gave up in the promise of Danny Green performing weeks ago. Blake, I'm jumping on your side right now because I don't know if Danny got it in him anymore. The Hulk, just shoot 50%, man. That's it. I mean, I'm with you. The Hulk on Periscope. I'm just like, yo, can we just 50%? I know none of us would ever make an NBA team, but just 50% is all we asking, right? Okay, Moham, Lakers had 6-point lead and blew it. Just lack of focus, bad shot making. Absolutely. Lack of focus, okay, and bad shot making. And you had them on the ropes. Because had you beat them down in those last 3 minutes, that would have affected how they walked in the game too. But now they got confidence, and now they're pointing at screens, and now Dame is. That's okay. Because this is where AD is gonna change his narrative. If you don't change it now, he's never gonna change. Okay. I would start Caruso and Morris in place of KCP and Green. You could. I don't know if I would start Morris. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know because Morris can't keep up with like a CJ. That's not going to be his thing. And you already have AD and you already have JaVale in there. So adding in that third big like that, as you saw tonight, is problematic. I'm not against it. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm saying you might not be able to play defense the way you'd want to. Okay? On account for Mohan, this is the first time since January 7th that a Blazers opponent didn't score 100 points. 37 games. Lakers offense in a rough place. Yeah. So defensively, they did their thing. Okay, thank you for that stat, YouTube. Defense did their thing, but offense didn't show up. And when you shoot 15% from 3, you're not going to win. Vogel substitutions are weak. Naveed Bajwa. Yeah, I didn't like his timing as much tonight. And I really thought I was going to see more. I know we shorten rotations when we get to the playoffs, but when I only saw Dion Waiters for a minute, I didn't understand it as much. But a part of me thinks this. This is just my thought and my theory. Part of me thought that because it was such a tough defensive battle, he didn't want to try to trade baskets with Portland. You're not going to win. They're the best offensive team really in the bubble since the bubble started. Okay, so you don't want to trade baskets with that team. So you could tell they put a lot of emphasis on defense. They shut down Dame for a large portion of the game. And like you said, they kept them underneath 100 points. So I don't know. Essentially, if it was more of a if he just didn't want to put Dion in because he knew Dion was going to be a defensive liability. But I think what's going to end up happening is if you see the Lakers get a lead that's around 9 to 10 points, you're probably going to see more Dion. Okay, I think at this point it's safe to say we ain't going to see J.R. Smith at all. You probably see J.R. Smith in garbage time with THT and Costas. All right. Um, do you think our defense was okay? I think they played Dame and CJ well enough. Dame just that good. You're not listen. You're not going to stop Dame, bro. Like they did a great job. What they actually did was keeping the Blazers at a low scoring total was actually the game plan. But the issue is that when you're not hitting shots, then you playing defense don't really matter because you're not scoring. That's the issue. You stop them from scoring to give yourself a better chance at scoring. That's how games are won. You don't let them score, you score more. Boom, victory. But if you stop them from scoring and then you don't score, eventually they're going to score. And because you're not scoring, they win. Boom, defeat. So, we have to figure out a way to get the offense going while keeping up this defensive intensity. Vogel's rotations are trash. Yeah, man. Ethan Shirazi, 24 from Periscope. Those 4 free throw misses from Bron and AD lost us the game. And it also changes the mentality, man, because you're looking at everything has been sent. I mean, every player came in this season going, we know what our role is. Our role is to be around these two guys and be the support around AD and Bron. Now, AD and Bron were the highest scorers tonight. LeBron had a triple-double. He did his assist thing. He did his rebound thing. But when it comes to clutch times when you need him the most, that's why they call it Dame time, because they know that when it gets to the clutch, he gonna shoot from half court and make it. Who is our fourth quarter? Really? You know what I mean? Like who's our fourth quarter? We know LeBron and AD are one of the most powerful duos in the league. We know that. But when crunch time happens, what are we doing? What's going on with that? KCP 111 in 30 minutes. Oh yeah, and his box score, yeah, he just did not. He was 0 of 9 from the field. A lot of those curl screens that he's been. I mean, he used to be automatic. To be honest with you, hit that curl screen in the mid range on that elbow. He pull up and he did it. They set a screen for him on the elbow. He'd curl around, throw it up, money. Tonight, he was 0 of 9. He was 0 of 9, 0 of 5 from 3, and even had a couple of corner threes that were just like, I don't even know why you're shooting that. Howard versus Reps, episode 200. Yeah, man, Howard was getting ready to fight somebody, man. Edmund Joakim, agreed. Do you think that when the rotations aren't working, he needs to switch them up, Green and KCP poor? I think so. I think he needs to be okay with offending a veteran. I think he needs to be okay with that. I think he needs to be okay with saying, Green, we're paying, it's not even about the money. Green, you've won championships. You're fresh off a championship. You have championship caliber in your blood. You're sucking right now. So I'm gonna put somebody else in until you figure it out. And I think he needs to be okay with saying that, right? Because at this point, taking Danny Green out of the lineup could actually be an upgrade. We just don't know because he won't do it. So we'll see. Blake Sinclair, less threes, especially from players who can't shoot, and more playing to strength down low. Have to kickstart the offense to open up the floor for more, more for everyone. Great point, Blake. That's what makes the Lakers so dangerous is that you have length and size in the middle, which most teams don't have, especially the Blazers. They have Whiteside, but he don't have the body to muscle with a Dwight. Okay, and then you also have an AD who's amazing on the board. He can pull out from he can pull out from the 3-point line. He can turn around, fade, the whole nine. So you have the bigs, you have the length, you have in my opinion, the defensive player of the year in AD. And then what the idea is that you play inside out. So LeBron should be able to facilitate the offense to either drive, kick, or to do pick and roll at the top of the key, high pick and roll, and be able to get it to either a lob or just a good pass into one of your bigs. There are plenty of options when you play inside out for our team. You control the pace, all of that. But when you don't have people shooting well, like Kyle Kuzma is a great spacer for you right now, okay? Or your most consistent one, okay? So if you have a Kyle Kuzma who can hit threes or can hit shots or who can dribble, penetrate, and get to the rim like he did tonight, if you know that's a possibility, then that's the person that you put on the floor with AD and Bron. That's how you that's how you get it open for them to be able to do what they do well. And tonight, for whatever reason, they didn't do that. I don't come on him. Lakers were up 6 and took out Kuz for DG. This loss is on Vogel. This is not Indiana from 2016. It's not. And once again, we don't know what the thought process was. It was very questionable. I don't understand why he did it. And once again, I don't know if it's a defensive thing because Danny Green played some pretty good defense down the stretch. Okay, we saw him almost pick the pocket a couple times, man. So I don't know if it was more of a defensive minded thing for him to have Danny Green in there, but for whatever reason, he took out a hot Kuz. And I think it's because we know the philosophy of this team. Vogel is a defensive minded coach. It's been his mantra all year. Defense is what gets you on that court for him. That's why Alex Caruso doesn't have to make a shot, and he's going to get playing time in the playoffs because he's so active with his hands defensively. And so I don't know if that's the difference between a Kuz and a DG is that he doesn't want to outscore teams, he wants to defend teams. I don't know. James Michael, do you think it will take LBJ to get hot for us to win this? I think it's going to take Anthony Davis making more than 8 shots. I think it's going to take him shooting better than 12 of 17 from the free throw line. And I think it's going to take Kuzma getting more minutes. That's my personal opinion. Now, to be honest with you, Kuzma, Anthony Davis, and LeBron were the only players tonight that got above 30 minutes. Okay? So you see where the emphasis is at. I just want to see Kuzma get more looks. And a lot of that stuff he only shot 14 times tonight. And he still had 14 points, right? So, like, you want to see that. Anthony Davis only made 3 more shots than Kuzma. You see what I'm saying? Like, I in my head, like, I know LeBron is carrying a lot of weight, but I really feel like we should start putting a little bit more offensive load on Kuzma because his confidence is there. And you want to maximize this, like, grow that now. You know what I mean? Invest in that. Give him the time. Run the plays for him. Do like you did at the end of the other game where he won the game. Like, give him those moments because right now what you're doing, in my personal opinion, is that you're putting a lot of pressure on LeBron and AD. And LeBron is trying to live up not just to the Laker name, he's trying to live up to Kobe's name, and he's just not gonna do it in Lakerland. I don't care if he wins 3 more championships. Okay, we love LeBron. I'm so glad he's on our team. Like I love it, but he does have to play underneath the shadow of Kobe. Kobe just died this year, which took the legacy to a whole new level. So the idea I think is that you want to create more space for LeBron to just feel free to play and not have to live underneath this pressure. Maddox McLeod, 80 had 21 points in the first half, 7 in the second half, absolutely. And that's one of the things that we can't excuse. You can't get less active in the second half. Now, with that being said, had he just made his I'm gonna keep saying this. Had he just made his free throws, he would have had 12 points. But that's just me. Jonathan Watson, preach, brother. Maddox McLeod, he has to dominate both halves. Yes, consistent play from beginning to end. And if you're not going to do that, if you're not going to play consistent, then give us everything you got in the fourth quarter. Now, I don't know how, for me, I'm going to lay off the coaching staff for this game. But if the team don't come out in this second game ready to smack the teeth out of the Trailblazers, then I'm done. Then I'm done with the coaching staff, and I'm going to let y'all have them. But for the most part, like, I'm waiting to see how this team responds to the loss tonight. Kuz went out, and we lost our 6-point lead because KCP and TG are crap. LeBron can't make free throws, and it bugs me, man. I just want him to make free throws. Lakers should live and die at the 3-point line. Need to attack their slow bigs more. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Gio, AD won't have another game like this and won't miss 2 clutch free throws again. And let's not forget. Just, and I know we're talking historically, but Dame missed 2 key free throws, and the whole Clipper bench was laughing about it, made a whole video about it. And how he responded to that is how they ended up in the position they are right now, playing in the playoffs. My question is, when you watch a Nurkic mock you at the camera, when you watch Dame abuse you in the last couple minutes, when you see that, do you respond like Dame? Like, do you have the thing in there that goes, I'm going to destroy you the next time I see you? Like, that's what we need to see. Play Dion Waiters, Ant-Man. I'm not against it, man. I just wanted to see what he got. I just want to see him. I don't know if it's just because he's not ready or because he's been talking crazy, because Dion does make some questionable decisions, but the whole team is making questionable decisions right now. So at this point, let him just throw him in there, see what happens. Edman, Joakim, why have we completely abandoned our pick and roll, given our size and advantage? Edmund, listen. I am so, like, you're speaking my brain and my heart. Every time I watch them play, I see LeBron bring the ball up, and then I think to myself, now when is AD going to come set the high screen? Because what's funny is that that's what the Blazers did all night. Literally, all night. They just came, Nurkic would come set the screen, and then Dame would do whatever he did. But, like, for whatever reason, We have the best pick and roll duo in the league. Didn't use it. 24K Petty, my cousin. I'm so annoyed right now they gave up at the end. Start Kuz, sit KCP, and pray for Start Kuz, sit KCP, pray for Danny Green. That's it. That's the shirt. That's the tweet. That's the tweet right there. Start Kuz, sit KCP, and pray for Danny Green. Madison McLeod, do you think we need to play Waiters more? I just want to see it. I don't know what Waiters is in this playoffs. I don't know. Okay, he's not Dane, right? I just want to see what he can do. Gio, AD gonna have to play 30 minutes a night at the 5. I don't know why that's not the game plan. To be honest with you, I don't know why that's not the game plan. DFS Wildcat from Periscope, good to see you. Need AD to take more shots closer to the basket. We have so many spot up shooters. We do. And it makes our offense look so elementary because it just looks like we don't know what to do until the end of the clock. And to be honest, if we had spot up shooters, like if we had like consistent shooters, then it would make sense. But when you don't have consistent shooters, I don't know what we're doing. Like you got to run plays. You got to run plays to get people open. And we only do that apparently when it's out of a timeout. So Dion will make threes. JR will make threes. Quinn will make threes. Yes, at the expense of giving up 36 threes on the other side. So right now, the biggest issue for Dion, Quinn, and JR is their defense is atrocious. This is not me speculating. Their numbers, they are defensively atrocious. They are liabilities. They get picked up. They might as well be Luka Doncic on defense. Okay. They are atrocious on defense. And so while you do get threes, you give up so much more on the other side. And so if you were a high-scoring coach, we had one named Mike D'Antoni, you don't care about that. Put the three-point shooters in. Let them go. But that's the reason why D'Antoni has no rings. Because at some point, you're going to run into a brick wall of scoring. And you're going to go like you did one game where you shoot you miss 24 threes and lose a game 7 at home to the Warriors. Okay? So this is a complete opposite coach who goes, we're going to keep all of the teams from scoring as much as they normally do, which the Lakers have been continually doing. Okay, with the exception of some of these regular season games towards the end. Tonight they played defense well. They kept one of the highest scoring teams below their average, far below their average. Okay, so it's hard. Like you throw in 3-point shooters for the sake of getting your 3-point percentage up, but then your defense slips. You want the perfect balance. The perfect balance is great defense and then playing to your strengths on offense. That's the perfect balance. You're going to have a weakness. Every team has a weakness. The Blazers have a weakness, right? We just haven't exploited it. The issue is that when you try to lean to one side more than the other, then you end up just misbalancing, and you could have more scoring and still lose the game, right? So the idea is that you play to your strengths and you try to hold a good balance of defense and offense. But when it's time, like I would put a Dion or a JR in when you have a good sizable lead and you can sacrifice a little defense at the sake of them getting hot. But in a game like tonight where you're playing from behind the majority of the game, you can't do that. Rondo back next game, Madison McLeod? I don't think so, man. And after watching some of these clips of Rondo playing, he ain't ready, bro. He ain't ready. Abraham, Kuz played great from defense. He missed shots like everyone else. He did. But he also scored 14 points. And he was the only other, outside of, which is crazy. This is what's crazy, guys. Danny Green, Kyle Kuzma, AD, and Braun were the only double-digit scorers. Like, as bad as we say he played tonight, Danny Green, he was 4-12, hit 2 threes, and had 10 points. He also had 5 personal fouls. So, you take some, you lose some, right? Our turnovers, listen, guys, we've been talking about turnovers. Our turnovers, we only had 9 the whole game. There were plenty of moments in our game tonight where we saw moments that probably didn't look good to us because we lost, but that are things that we can look at and go, okay, let's build on that. Okay, we play great defense. We're keeping the turnovers low. Now you just got to hit shots. Now, here's what we do know about the Lakers. When they get hot, they get hot, period. When LeBron starts hitting threes, he hits threes. The issue that's frustrating is we can't trust it. And that's what we're looking for in these games. James Michael, do we need to remove JaVale or shorten shift? Being down 17 early didn't help with missing shots while missing shots. It did not, man. The beginning of the game was very telling for us. We really should have known at the very beginning that we weren't totally prepared for this game. Because just to be honest, like the plays we ran in the beginning were cool and stuff like that, but it just didn't feel like everybody was in sync and everybody was coming in together. And I love the video, right? The whole legacy video, and I love it. The wearing the Mamba jerseys in Game 4, I love it. But now we got to play Game 5 because we couldn't close the deal in Game 1. So we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. And this is what's crazy. You know, to be honest with you, this is one of the things that the Clippers do well that we don't. Clippers tend to finish games well in tight situations. They did it in their first playoff game. For us, we tend to always play from behind, and then we pray and hope that we can have things fall our way at the very end. Um, Free throws are critical to winning games in the playoffs, especially. Edmund Joe, yeah, they're the easiest shot in basketball. I, if I'm being honest, if somebody could tell me different, I can't think of a shot that's easier than that. I mean, I guess a layup, but most layups can be contested. There's no free open layups. So, and we've seen people who've been on breakaways and miss layups. I'm just saying the free throw is you stop everything. Ain't no pressure, ain't no shot clock, just shoot it, and we miss it. Didn't Nurkic blow a kiss to the camera? Blake St. Clair. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That level of disrespect that dude did in that camera. I would play that over and over. I mean, I would watch that all night. I would watch that until the very next tip off. I mean, like I had that thing on repeat. Because Nurkic, I mean, to be honest with you, Nurkic really wasn't that dude tonight. Like he was cool, but he wasn't like he had 16 points, he had 13 rebounds, but 33 minutes, 4 of 11 from the field. He wasn't spectacular, but because he was able to finish, he was able to talk crap. And I hope the Lakers watch what he did. He actually blew a kiss. Charles McAfee. Yep. Hope KCP and DG get their A in the gym. I hope so. I don't think they have access to gyms like that out there, but they better figure out something. Why did Dion Waiters? Why Dion Waiters even doesn't play today? Sergio Delgado. Yeah, Dion Waiters I think only played 1 minute. Yeah, he played 1 minute tonight. And it was at the end of the second quarter, going into the half. I don't know. Can't tell you. Um, I'm trying to keep up. There's so many comments. Laker Metropolis Waiters didn't see that floor the floor that much. No, he didn't. I don't know why. Ronald Tuberville. How about JR in the spot shooter role? He's not terrible on defense. He's terrible right now because he doesn't. You got to remember, JR hasn't played in a while. I'm just getting the charger from my phone. JR ain't played in a while, guys. He ain't played in a hot minute, and because he ain't played in a hot minute, okay. I don't care how like he's not terrible as we remember him on three. I'm sorry for blocking the camera. He's not as terrible as we remember him, right? But he ain't play. He's been out the league longer than anybody who's back in the league. Okay, so for him, he's just. I mean, it was a hail mary to have him come in anyway. And I think at some point he could contribute. I just don't think game one of the playoffs he just there's nothing that's shown you that he has the rhythm to keep with it. Yeah, the last time I saw him shoot a shot, he hit the side of the backboard. Okay, so how can the Lakers have all this dilly dally games and still come out with zero rhythm? I don't know. I don't know. 18 more field goal attempts, bringing the 3-point percentage up to 30 and 35. Lakers win series. Head, you know, you're actually right. You bring that 3-point percentage up. I don't know how you fix that outside of letting Kyle Kuzma shoot more. Braun should have had 25 assists. He should have had way more than yes, you're right, way more than 16 because my man was he was throwing some passes tonight. Defense was good, just missed too many shots. 8 head, I appreciate that. Sadly, there was no quick fix to the free throw shooting. I don't care. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think it's gonna get fixed. I just don't. I, I have contributed to the conversation of what is going on with the free throw shooting so long this season that I think I've reached the point of giving up. I think we're just going to have to just hope we foul out the other team. And the benefit of getting to the free throw line is just giving the other team more fouls. James Michael, I think we need to make threes for the lane, not to clog it up. Restricted area shooting was bad today. James, that's a great observation. When you don't hit threes, it clogs the lane. You got to bring these guys out, okay? You could hear Portland breathing a collective sigh whenever AD chose to shoot instead of drive. Ronald Tuberville. Yeah, yeah, man. It's especially when you had 4 of them in 5. I mean, 4 of them had 5 fouls, man. 4 of them. Like my first thought is get Whiteside out, get Nurkic out, get these cats out because when they bring their bench in cold, who are less skilled, that's an automatic win. You can have your way. Like forget the other stuff, man. Get them out the game. Drive the paint. Do what you got to do. But they just didn't do it. Did you see that DG 3-point attempt where he hit the side of the backboard? You know what's funny? They said this on the thing today. If I counted it correctly, they hit both teams hit the side of the backboard 4 times in totality. Like the backboard was hit 4 times this game. I don't think I've ever heard of a game where the backboard was hit that many times in a playoff game. Mind you that I can't. Blake Sinclair, I think Kuzma got taken out because he literally guarded no one for a play in the fourth, stood in no man's land and watched the ball swing around for a three on the other side where his man was. Yeah, you may be right, man. I don't know. In regards to his hands, I mean, he had a block tonight and 7 rebounds, so he was active on some end. But I don't know. Lakers bench was plus 35. Starters were negative 70. 8 head. Like I said, maybe that starting lineup needs to change. I wish Kobe were here to talk about this game. I'm gonna be honest. Kobe would not be inspiration right now. Kobe would probably will walk into that gym. We've seen it. He probably walk into that gym, dribble real quick, and be like, "Hey, y'all are a bunch of trash players. Y'all suck. Y'all suck." He probably say something like, "Y'all lucky I'm not on this team." It's all giggles and hugs when he's on the sideline of the Staples Center. But when he walked into a practice facility, that dude wasn't about that. That dude wasn't about that. That dude would have walked in and been like, "Y'all suck," and just walked out. Oh man, why didn't Dion Waiters play? I don't know. Played Dion all this time in the bubble to get 1 minute in today's game. I do know. Let me stop. Dion is just not good at defense, and in a game where you're behind, the goal for a defensive-minded coach is to stop them from scoring, not try to outscore them more. And Dion is a liability. Now, I think once Dion understands these defensive rotations, I think once he gets to that place, I think you're going to see him on the floor more. But right now, because think about it, Rondo's out. So these minutes are going to shift whenever Rondo comes back. Right now, you have a lot of guard play by KCP, a lot of guard play by Danny Green, but that's going to change when Rondo comes back. Just letting you know, you're going to see a lot less Danny Green, a lot less KCP, to be honest. Um, Damian Garcia. Lakers have no shooters other than Green. Damian, be honest, bro. I appreciate you being in this room and in this chat. We're having a long chat tonight. But if you were in here about 20 minutes earlier, I think you would have realized that comment is going to get you fired on. The way this chat feels about Danny Green tonight, they would have to have anybody else but Danny Green, apparently, tonight. 8 head, physical game. Blazers are thin without Collins. Don't see them being able to maintain energy. They're not. I'm not. I'm mad because we should have won this game, but I'm not worried like we're going to lose the series. That's my balance of attitude. I'm with y'all. We should have won that game. That's stupid. I'm not worried about us losing the series. Okay. What I'm hoping, this is what my prayer is. Can we get our stuff together during this series? Get battle tested, get the fire underneath our feet, so that when we get to the next round and play, either the Thunder or the Rockets, it's probably gonna be the Rockets. That we have another small ball team. Russ will be back. It's gonna be like I want us to have that mentality to be able to lock down and do what we got to do. Just a reminder, Palinka said KCP is sent from God. And for a part of the signing is hot dog water from YouTube. For a part of the season, he was manna. When Avery Bradley went down, KCP filled that starting role so well that we said we are so grateful. I'm telling you, I can go back and pull the receipts from the chats. We are so grateful that we have KCP while Avery Bradley was out. Some of you in the same chat, some of you said, I'm not sure KCP should come out of the starting lineup because he's doing too well. Okay, I just want to point that out, that while we have celebrated Jesus coming in, we are ready to crucify him now. So, is he man from God? Absolutely not. Palinka was on some other stuff back then. Ever since he slicked his hair back like Riley, he's got his head together. But for the most part, KCP is he's better than our 7-year drought. Let's put it that way. And Lakers bench plus 35, starters negative 70. Kuzma and AC need more minutes. They do. Well, Kuzma played 30 minutes tonight. It was just the way where he played his minutes. I didn't like it because he was only a plus 5. He would have been way above that had he been playing in the right lineups. I think putting a Kyle Kuzma with the AD and a Bron, putting an Alex Caruso out there, and then really like someone said, getting a Morris out there. Or even a Dion Waiters sometimes, if you can have enough defense, if you have good forward defense, and let the one just suffer like the Warriors did when they had Steph on the floor, that can make a difference. Achilles' heel is 3-point shooting percentage, 8 head, and free throws. Brett Goldman, good to see you. Have we talked about Dwight's foul trouble? We did not. We talked about Dwight's his anger problem, right? So Dwight is pretty much a passion player. When he's doing well, or when he's like passionate, he tends to do well. When he's frustrated, his passion turns to frustration and irritation, then he becomes over aggressive. He gets close. He gets a lot more foul calls than he needs to. He complains a lot more. Um, Eddie, if they lose game 2, the series is over. I don't know yet. I don't know. Blake Sinclair, my point about the coaching staff was more you said Portland had momentum leading into this. It's a big part of the job of the coach to get the team up to the level and intensity of the opponent. Yeah, Blake, but every NBA player and coach and analyst will tell you there's nothing you can do to substitute playing in a real game. That's why they worry about any team taking time off. You hear this a lot in football. You hear this a lot in baseball. Do you rest certain players when they're already in a rhythm? Like, if you lock up the number 1 seed, the reason why there's a question, do you continue to play at AD and LeBron, is because you want them to keep their rhythm going. The practice will never simulate that. You shooting in the gym is not going to give you the same experience as being underneath a pressure game and leading into the playoffs of the regular season. It just doesn't. This is a problem that a lot of teams have, is that keeping that momentum and that drive and that keeping that focus going into a thing is hard. It really is hard. And this year was a huge anomaly because the Lakers didn't even know who they were playing until the Blazers won that game against the Grizzlies. And normally you would know that by the time you get done with the regular season. But you had to watch seeding games, and the seeding games were weird, and you had to wait for that stuff to kind of settle out. So you're talking about a whole lot of a different scenario about having players ready. You can't prepare for the Blazers unless you know you're playing the Blazers, and you didn't know that until a couple of days ago. So, or a few days ago, should I say? And so, like, you can only do so much, and so like you can get them shooting and stuff like that, but that's not going to prepare you to guard Dame. Guarding Dame and guarding John Morant are two totally different things. And to be honest, you weren't even sure if it was going to be Memphis. It could have been Devin Booker, who was a whole different beast. He was 8-0. So it's just, we have to think about it in context that the coaches can only do so much with a limited amount of time, information, and practice space. You have to schedule. Well, you can't even schedule it. They set the schedule for your practice time. You don't get to just go to the gym and practice when you want. That's not how it works in the bubble. The bubble this is part of the frustration that Bron has. You can't just walk into the gym and say, I'm going to shoot right now. Like, you have to work it out. You have to, like, figure out a way to make that happen. And if it's possible, you can. If it's possible, you can. But they determine that. The league determines that. You don't. You're on their territory and their time. So they determine all that for you. Oh, my God, guys. I can't keep up with this. Plenty of time since last game to make sure they are prepared better. Once again, I'm just saying who you're preparing for if you don't know. Wanted to see more of Waiters. I did too. Grant Greenlee, as a Rockets fan, and I'm assuming you're saying you're a Rockets fan. I live in Houston, so I'm assuming you're not talking about me though. What are your thoughts on the Lakers Rockets series? I'm not even thinking about it, to be honest. I'm not thinking about that. I'm not thinking about it. I'm worried about Dame Lillard. I ain't worried about CJ. I ain't worried about Nurkic. I ain't worried about Whiteside. I ain't worried about McCollum. I ain't worried about Stotts. I'm not worried about Charles Barkley. I ain't worried about none of them. I'm worried about Dame. James Harden, whatever. Listen, I don't know they blew out the Thunder tonight, but I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. They got a squad, but I don't know. Big Game James just said the loss was needed. We needed to wake up. Jonathan Watson. John, I'm gonna go with Blake St. Clair because we and Blake had a discussion about this. How many games do you need to really wake up at this point? What are we really like? What are we really looking for at this point? If you couldn't wake up by those losses in the regular season, if you didn't wake up by watching what the Blazers have been doing, if that stuff didn't wake you up, I don't know why tonight would be. If you needed tonight to wake up, then man, I think you should stay asleep. Um, Eight head. Love Dwight's energy. He gives Lakers that edge. Just needs to stay out of foul trouble. He does. Blake Sinclair. AD grew up in the backcourt. I just don't like he likes or is conditioned enough to the contact at the 5. He better learn something quick. Because scoring 7 points in the second half ain't gonna do it. He did this to us at the Clippers game in the season opener. Disappeared in the 4th. This is playoff time, buddy. I'll excuse you on game 1 because you don't know how it works in Staples. But you're wearing that Laker brand in the playoffs now. We didn't come all this way to get swept again. That's not what we're doing. Is the post game really dead? The post up game really dead? AD needs to post up more instead of settling jumpers. I believe so. It's not dead. I believe what you're saying is right. Physicality wise, Blake St. Clair. I'm amazed at how much losing Bradley and Rondo ruins rhythm. Yeah, and it's so weird, man. We have had such an up and down thing with this roster. When the whole thing started, we didn't know who we were getting. We thought we were getting Kawhi. We thought it was going to be a three-headed monster. Kawhi didn't happen. We scrambled and got a bunch of players together. Nobody knew how it was going to work. Everybody was saying that team sucks. We play that clip all the time with Jackie McCollum and all them. And it's hard to fit AD into an offense. It's so much easier to fit Kawhi into an offense. We didn't know what was going to happen. We ended up having the number one seed. Avery Bradley ended up becoming this defensive guru. KCP had great flashes. Kyle Kuzma started coming to his own. Caruso became this guy like that. We just didn't know what to do with him. And then you get to this place where now you're going into a bubble in a pandemic and you lose Avery Bradley. And then you see Rondo, super buff, ready to go, and breaks his thumb during a practice. Didn't even realize he broke it. Went to the trainers and they were like, man, this thing broke. And then you have a J.R. Smith who hasn't played in 2 years. You add him to the roster. Dion Waiters, who got suspended multiple times in 1 year. Nobody would take a chance on him, but we did. You get rid of Troy Daniels, who ends up playing for another team, and then it's just so much has happened with this team that at the end of the day, you start going like, man, like you start looking back and going, well, what was our consistency? And through all of those ups and downs, our consistency was the Rondo and the Bradley. Even with Rondo's strengths and weaknesses, he was still kind of our consistent edge. Bradley, consistent edge. No matter how good KCP did, how bad he did, how good Kuz did, how bad he did. The even line for our team were those two. And it's so unfortunate we don't have them because we could really use them right now. Thoughts on Dwight's foul trouble? He, I don't know, man. I love this dude's physicality, and I can't understand the officiating to save my life. There's some points where I'm like, that's not a foul, and there's other points where I'm like, that's a foul. I can't figure it out. I just want him to continue to stay physical because they don't have the muscle for him. Remove Braun from your esophagus. London Roads. I don't know what that is. 18 more field goal attempts. Make 4 of them, and the Lakers win 4 of 18. You got a point. Gabe, aka don't play. We just got to do better. That defense was on point. That right there. That's another tweet. We just got to do better. Like if we're just being honest, we throw all this commentary out. Just do better. Just play better. Period. Like I don't need to coach anybody on that. You don't need to you don't need. Just do better. Just do better. We'll be better if you do better. Defense on point. Ben says bench KCP. Eight head says, man, all the second guessing. Haha, it's a 1 game. Haven't played in a week. Everyone relax. Ben says bench KCP now. Man, I'm telling you, I love us as fans, but we will throw a player away. The People's Champ. Appreciate you, DeVon. Aldell. Yo, listen, man. Can'tBeatLA.com. Go get the merch now. The stuff that they have coming out is insane. Also, Golden Knight. You guys know our boy Javi. He might be even be in this chat right now, but hop on his stuff. They have some great stuff. Dion is no defensive liability. Honestly, Vogel has issues. Fonte, go look at Dion's defensive efficiency since he's been with the Lakers. He is one of the biggest liabilities we have on the team. I mean, I know it feels like he's not, but you got to look at the numbers. The numbers will tell you the truth. At the point where your wings aren't hitting shots, you bench them so they wise up. I'm not mad at that. Now that makes sense. D, you're killing it. D, thank you, man. Al Sanchez, sit KCP, play Caruso in his place, and put Dion on the point off the bench. Al, listen, what you guys saying with these roster things? I'm loving the idea of it. I don't know how viable any of that's going to be, but I like these ideas, man. What it helps me understand is that we're not hopeless. I think what we're seeing is that we're not seeing the right combination in place. I think we have pieces that can work. But the way the pieces are being configured at certain points in the game are questionable. So when you question the coaching staff, I completely understand. When you want to bench players, I completely understand. I'm not going to go as far as throwing them away and they're trash. I'm not going to say none of that. But I think the configuration has a lot to do with that. Yeah, how do you take out Kuz when he's hot? That's what killed us. You ain't lying. For no other than Green. Yeah, like out of all people. Dion needs to take Danny's minutes. Gerardo Munoz on Periscope. I hear you and I understand it and I partly agree. I'm not ready to commit to that yet. Bro, if I were a coach, my first rule is freaking box out. Our players never box out. I mean, how? It's what's crazy is we out rebounded them. Like We out rebounded them tonight. We out rebounded them. I mean, we did a good job on the rebounding side. So the box out wasn't so much the issue, as much as it was not hitting our shots. I can't stress enough that the Portland Trailblazers only scored 100 points tonight, and you can't even think about the last time that one of the highest scoring teams in the bubble got held down to this many points. But the issue is that you only scored 93. That's like I keep going back to is like you could do defense all day, but if you ain't scoring, it ain't gonna work. Is LeBron hurt? He doesn't seem to have the same lift. Jason Jeter. I I don't know if he's hurt. I just I just think he's old. I think that's the hard part for us to kind of settle in with is like, yeah, he doesn't have the same lift. I haven't really seen that lift all season. I think he needs a certain kind of runway to kind of get things going, because he definitely put Nurkic on a body bag one time, right? So like, he has the ability to do it. I think it's the way the plays run, and we're one of the top transition teams. What keeps us in games or helps us to win is that our defense is so good. You have active hands generally with a KCP or a Caruso or Avery Bradley, who's able to keep the defense going. That kicks us out on these transitions. You saw tonight. Part of our runs were the great defense. Like there was a play where Anthony Davis blocked a shot, then outran everybody, and then scored on the other end with the LeBron assist. So that's really our bread and butter. But when we're not getting the transition going, it doesn't really help. And then when you do things like you get in transition, but you shoot stupid threes, like LeBron shot a dumb three tonight. You do that, it kind of kills the flow, and then the other team gets it going. Um, ooh, guys, oh, I can't keep. Oh my God, I can't do it. Ooh, okay. I'm just gonna pick some of these guys. I cannot go through all of these, and I'm already an hour and 10 in. I will say this: everybody's saying the same thing, and I'm with you. Vogel shouldn't have took out Kuzma when he did. I saw somebody in here say excuses, excuses, excuses. Um, I don't know if you've been watching the post game show, but I've been. I mean, it's in the thing. 15% from 3 point, 64% from the free throw. There's no excuse for that. But I am going to bring balance. Okay, I am going to bring balance. I am not. I have survived too many bad seasons for me to jump off the team now. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be a difficult day tomorrow. Some of us are not going to sleep well tonight. We're going to be thinking about all those times we should have won. We are aggressive fan base as we should. We're used to banners and championships, and we're 16 games away from having another banner in the building through one of the worst years ever, if I'm being honest, right? So we're really close, and it makes us very passionate. So I'm with it, and I want you guys to vent, and that's what I'm here for. I can't obviously we have so much venting in here, I can't get to all of it. By the way, Lakers 1500 W. I don't know what that means, Joker. They've been garbage in the bubble. Gave up 100 points. Defense was great, but need a boost on offense. Play JR and Dion. Y'all have to leave JR out of this conversation. I know JR has the potential, but that boy got to get his legs back together. Y'all know that, right? Like y'all know, like JR could really be good, but he ain't. This was not the game to throw in JR to see if it was going to work. This is not the game for that. Remember, in the playoffs, you tighten your rotations. You don't expand them. Charles Barkley brought out the broom, referring to Portland's sweep on TNT. Guys, the Lakers are not getting swept, man. They're not getting. Swept. I'm not even gonna entertain. Yeah. Show Barkley, and nobody takes Barkley serious, man. Like I love his personality, but come on, man. Let's be honest. Do you still think we win this series? Trifling, yes, absolutely. Oof. Uh, JR ain't in it. Game will win. Do you think the Lakers can win? Yep. They didn't go at any of the Blazers players that were in foul trouble. Kyle Davis, yes, thank you, my brother. That's what I've been trying to say. Al Sands, we've consistently played from behind in the beginning of games with the starters. That's a great point. We have become so accustomed to other teams coming in, beating us off the punch, and then we play our way back in and end up eventually winning. That is a very bad trend and culture that has been set, and there has to be a change in that. And so you maybe y'all right. Maybe you do bench maybe you do bench a KCP or a Green. I don't know. And then I don't know what the second unit is. Has a coach ever been fired after one playoff game? Y'all killing me. Y'all gonna fire Budenholzer too? Y'all done with him? Y'all are crazy, man. Y'all, this is crazy. Ain't nobody. He fine, man. He's fine. You don't get number one seed and then throw the dude away because you lost one playoff game. Like that's not how. That's not how the NBA works. That's not how the NBA works, man. It's just it don't work like that. He made some questionable decisions, but we've also had Mike D'Antoni, who played Kobe so much that he tore his Achilles going into the playoffs. Okay, I'm just saying, like we've had Byron Scott, we've had Luke Walton, we've like I just want to point out like we've had coaches before and none of them can get us here. Okay, so just want to just point it out. Like, is he the coach of the year? No, Frank Vogel's not the coach of the year, but I'm not ready to throw him away. Like, come on, guys, we got to be better than that, man. We got to be better. Second Spectrum says we were bad in transition too today. Just really missed shots. Yeah, the turning point was when Vogel took out Kuzma. Okay, this is what we're gonna take away from tonight. I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna end it with this. And David Garcia, you're right. Garisa, Montrezl Harrell doesn't have his legs, but Doc played him. You're correct. You are right. That is a good point. And Dion has not played. Rondo may play just based upon that. Here's the takeaway from tonight, okay? Because I want to end it tonight. Here's the takeaway. The takeaway is Vogel made a bad decision. Took Kuzma out when he shouldn't have. We all can agree on that. I don't think anybody has anything against that take or that opinion. Okay, Kuzma was hot. Kuzma has been the consistent shooter. He did play 30 minutes tonight, but the timing of his minutes just did not match what we needed tonight, and it cost us. With that being said, I do believe there are going to be adjustments made. I do believe that this Lakers team is going to struggle in this series. I think the team knows that. I think they know that the Blazers are not, once again, your typical 8 seed. I think they remember the first game back from Kobe dying, how Dame put on a show. I think they've seen him in the bubble. They know all of that stuff. They're going to make adjustments. Part of what makes the playoffs so beautiful and so wonderful is that it gives you the opportunity to go against a team multiple times. The truth is, I did not expect this team to sweep the Blazers. Not now. This is not that we're not on that kind of kick or that momentum kick right now. So one of these games, two of these games, we're probably going to lose. Okay, what I'm looking for and what we all need to be looking for is how do they come out in this second game? How do they respond? When they lost against the Clippers, the way that they lost in the opening game, that was the worst possible time for us at Staples Center. AD fresh, he's putting on the uniform for the first time. LeBron is here. We finally okay, we traded, we made the adjustments, we have the roster, let's get it going, and we didn't deliver. But right before the pandemic shut down, okay, right before the pandemic shut us down, we saw what that team had morphed into, beating the Bucks and the Clippers in the same weekend. And I know we're going to say Avery Bradley and all that. I get it. That's not what I'm talking about tonight. What I'm talking about is the ability to adjust once you see the team again. Got blown out by Milwaukee. Came back and adjusted. Lost to the Clippers twice. Came back and adjusted. Came back in the bubble. Beat the Clippers. Okay. So the idea for us is that we have to remind ourselves that this team can adjust. What we're asking them to do is adjust a lot quicker than what they did during the season. They need to adjust like now because you're seeing the same team right back to back. But this team is capable of beating the Blazers. That's how we went into this game, and tonight didn't change that. Does it have me concerned? Absolutely. Am I worried? Absolutely not. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. This is the analogy I like to put. Okay, this is the analogy I like to put. If I think if I'm looking at a team, right, and this team is shooting horrible from the free throw line all year, okay, but they keep winning games. Am I worried about their am I concerned about their free throw shooting? Yeah. Am I worried that that's going to be the thing that's going to keep us out of a championship? Yeah. Because I'm seeing a consistent trend that is important. Okay. Those are things that I worry about. Those are things that I'm concerned about. But when I see a team who shoots as bad as they did, lose by 7 to an 8 seed, am I concerned? I've been concerned about the same things all year. But am I worried that they're going to lose 4 games to this team? Absolutely not. I am not. No way, shape, or form am I worried about that. Now, we could talk about second round. We could talk about conference finals. We could talk about the finals. All those things are futuristic, and those things are going to bring their own worries and own concerns. But for the 8 seed versus the 1 seed, this Lakers team will get it done. This is the same LeBron that I believe, the same LeBron that we were excited about coming. And when he came, he's made a difference. He's changed the culture. He gave us a superstar when we didn't have one. After Kobe left, we had nobody. Then LeBron shows up, and Staples was buzzing again. We got rid of those kids, and we got AD. God bless Ingram and Zoe and all those guys. But we wanted AD, and we got AD, and we're excited about AD. Let's not lose the momentum now. We're seeing some bad things, but we still believe in the players that we got excited about in the beginning, okay? We're still excited about LeBron broke another title tonight, right? Another triple-double, put him above Kobe. Now, he's not greater than Kobe, in my opinion, but he's still one of the best. This is the best duo you could possibly have going in to the playoffs, okay? I would rather have LeBron and AD than Dame and CJ. That's me. I would rather have Bron and AD than Paul George and Kawhi. That's just me. But that's also why I'm a Laker fan. And prayerfully, that's why you're a Laker fan. It's because you see the best in our team when the rest of the world is seeing the worst. You don't make excuses for them, but you also don't throw them under the bus. You don't give them a pass, but you also don't try to throw away the team. What we're trying to do is we're trying to keep our hopes and our eyes on the prize. That's the championship. And tonight was one of those nights where it didn't feel like championship basketball. But this doesn't mean that the team is not a championship-worthy team. We're number 1 seed for a reason. We're in the playoffs for the first time in 7 years for a reason. And more than anything, we have the greatest motivation out of everybody. Nobody else is playing for the legacy of being. That's us. And we're going to figure it out. We're going to be good. We're going to get it back. Next game, we're going to make adjustments. What I'm asking you to do, I'm telling myself, sleep on it tonight. Wake up. Put the positive energy back into the feed, man. Get back in the timeline. Prepare yourself for the haters. Prepare yourself for all the Clipperderos in the world. Don't feed them. You got to stand firm, man. You got to remind yourself Kobe Bryant played through some of his worst seasons at the end of his career, and he never gave up on the Laker brand. Neither will we. We didn't survive the summer. We got to the playoffs. Now let's believe. Robert Christensen. Blazers are better. They may be, but they ain't going to beat us in this series. On everything. Okay? I appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys coming in here, man. I promise you, I'm going to figure out a way. 2 things I'm going to do. We're going to do this during the playoffs. I am going to let's do this. I'm going to get one of you guys to come on and do post game with me. Okay? I'm going to figure it out with the team, and then what I'm going to do is we're going to contact you, and I'm going to bring you in, and we're going to talk. And I'm thinking about a few names that I want to get in here because I want you guys to be able to be heard. I want your voice to be heard because I want you guys to be able to vent. We're going to get you guys on here. That's number 1. Number 2, the next post game, I'm going to be better with these comments. My boy Chaez hopefully will be back with me so we can address some of these things. But I appreciate you guys. We'll be back for the next one. Don't trip. Positive energy spirit bombs in the timelines. Sleep on it tonight. Enjoy a drink. Enjoy your family. And then tomorrow, wake up ready to go. Because to be honest with you, it's the only way we know how to live. It's what Kobe would do, right? Anyway, I'm out of here. I appreciate it. This has been DeVon Johnson, Showtime Forum Post Game Show.